All right, welcome back everybody for another episode of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the article and video that I do for comicbookinvest.com where I talk about those hidden little treasures tucked away in those cheap boxes, either at your LCS and their dollar boxes, their discount back issue bins, so $2 boxes, your flea markets, your yard sales, wherever you find your books, half-price books, wherever you do your cheap comic book digging. These are some comics you might be able to still find in those boxes based on some of the more recent news announcements, things going on in the comics, and what have you. Hopefully you're still enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. We got new content dropping almost daily. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And if you want to know what books I want to tip you off to go on your scavenger hunt for this week, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro and I will be right back. All right, so for this week, we are going to start off with something that's from the comics. And with Captain America, starting with a new title, Captain America, Sentinel of Liberty, we had a return of a classic character with a new look as well. So this villain returns. The Destroyer comes back with this brand new look in Captain America, again, Sentinel of Liberty #1. Multiple covers on this. This is the issue, the regular issue. This is not what I'm saying you're going to find in the dollar bin or anything like that. This is a brand new comic, so this is what is spawning the idea. So inside this book, again, we are returned to Brian Fallsworth, who came through as the Destroyer in back in, was it like the 70s. The Destroyer, the character itself, came from well before. It was like a golden age. I think it was like in the 40s. So you're not going to find that book in those dollar bins, but we're going to get to why you're going to look for this version, the Brian Fallsworth version, because that's what we're getting, because it even says it right here on this page from the guts of the book. So here we see the return, like I said, of this villain, Captain America. Maybe make it interesting. And where you will see the introduction of the Brian Fallsworth Destroyer is in Invaders #18. See him right there on the cover. Looks like almost like a cross between Dracula and Vision here. Right back here, introducing after decades the mighty Destroyer, because like I said, he had been around in the Golden Age, but this was that return in the Invaders. So this issue 18 is where you're going to find that first appearance. And this book, yeah, it's still pretty cheap. When you see, look, copy sold for $2, even online, $2 on June 13th. So just 3 days ago, this sold for $2. And when you want to look for copies online right now, I did this research today. $7, $11, $12. It's not that expensive, but you might be able to find some of these old Invaders books still in those cheap boxes, those dollar boxes, $2 boxes, whatever your cheap, your cheap options are at your shops, your LCSs, where you're buying your cheap comics. You might be able to find the Invaders still tucked away in those boxes. So keep an eye out for this one, because it is an interesting first appearance. Because apart from issue 18, in the next issue, you also want to keep an eye out for that one as well, because the character, Brian Fallsworth, may have been introduced as the Destroyer and has returned as the Destroyer, but there was a time when he took the place of his father as Union Jack inside issue 19. Right there. So at the end of this issue is where you see the Fallsworth, who runs through most of the issue as the Destroyer, come out as Union Jack. So just another one to keep an eye out for, because that's another book you want to keep handy as well. And for that one, you can also still find this one still for pretty cheap copies. See those My Comic Shop sales, $5, $3, both of those June 14th. So just 2 days ago on those sales. Copies out there available right now, $16, $7, so a little bit. And $39, that's a lot, because that's the other thing too. You might be able to find cheap lots of Invaders books and things like that, titles like that, for cheap, even online if you go hunting and looking. They may not list the individual issues out in the lot, but if you just search like an Invaders lot, just flip through the books, flip through the pictures. Maybe you can catch one of these books just tucked away in there without being called out as anything special. But again, I'm still telling you to go find them in those cheap boxes at your shops, because it's just kind of a fun little scavenger hunt. I'm not saying these books are going to really spike. I mean, they're already worth a couple of bucks, not like a ton, but I mean, if you grab a $1 book and you can sell it for 15 to 20 bucks, you did a good job. But it's just still a fun little thing to hunt based off of, like I said, some of the recent comic news and things. Like our next bit of news, which is some anime news, where we are going to get some anime adaptations from McFarlane's toy line. Yes, these creature toys that I've seen them in the Walmarts and whatnot. There's like a snake, there's this raptor that's also mechanized, and you do have Cygor right there. And Cygor is the only one that's actually had a comic appearance out of all of these. The other ones are just toys that are going to get turned into, I guess, an anime of some sort, because Cygor initially came through via the regular Spawn comic from way back in the day. So keep an eye out for that. You can still find those issues like 50 and under of Spawns are very plentiful. They're very plentiful. Granted, some of them are going to be worth a few bucks just because of a first appearance here or there, but here was a first appearance that really didn't have a lot of heat behind it prior to the last week or so when we got this news about Cygor. So you still might be able to find this, maybe $2, like you might be able to find this still for cheap somewhere out there, because those Spawn issues from that still first for 50 issues or so were still heavily printed. There's tons of copies out there, so just be on the lookout for it. That said, you can even see just 2 days ago, June 14th, $5, $10. Not that expensive. There have been some more recent sales apart from those. I wanted to show those sales because just a couple of days ago, they were $5, $10, whereas the more recent sales are starting to hit more of that $20, $25 range, which is what we're seeing more of the asking prices are right now for this book, which I don't think it can last. I think this is just hype, FOMO, people trying to just take advantage of the news while it's still within that first week. I don't think these prices are really going to hold, because, I mean, maybe they will. I mean, I could be wrong, but we're still talking about a cybernetic gorilla in a cartoon at the end of the day. Like, I don't think that moves the needle all that much for me. But yeah, if you look right now, 25, $30 is a lot of the asking prices. So if you can go find it for $1, $1 or $2 in a box, hopefully, good luck. Maybe you can flip yours and get $20 out of it and take advantage of the heat that's on it right now. That said, apart from the first appearance of Cygor in that issue 38, Cygor also had a 6-issue miniseries that came out of Image that is, I don't know, could be interesting. Maybe they somehow adapt it, working in the anime story. Maybe it becomes important. Who knows? This is just another fun little thing, fun little nugget of some books you can keep an eye out for related to this topic. So Cygor, again, pretty cool cover too. This was issue 1 out of Image, and there were the whole run had pretty decent covers. I mean, there's 2. Issue 3 is pretty cool with that close up with the eye getting kind of pulled and torn there. And then the last 3 issues as well, issue 4, 5, and even 6 with the missing hand there. The like Empire that Strikes Back style. But still pretty cool if you can find any of these. And these are all pretty cheap, even online. You look, most of the sales I could find are all around issue 1, but all the issues are basically the same. It's like $2, $5. It's like cover price or less all over the place. The asking prices, again, these are all issue 1s, but it's no different for the other issues in the series, really. $2, $4, $6, like, it's not an expensive book. So you could probably, if you can find them tucked away in those boxes. Keep an eye out for those Cygor issues 1 through 6, just for fun if you're interested. And while we're talking gorillas, why don't we talk some more robot gorillas, or not cyborg gorillas, but actually robot gorillas, and move on over to Optimus Primal. I know I mentioned this before on this series, Dollar Bin Digging, where you want to keep an eye out for those Beast Wars books. Granted, the first appearance was that little comic that came included with the figure. We're not going to talk about that one. This is the more recent series. It's there's not a lot of Beast Wars comics out there for you to go and grab, and some of them are a little pricey because they're tough to find. Some of those like bot cons and exclusive type books that are not easy to track down. But IDW did have a series of Beast Wars that just started last year, so you might be able to find these already in discount boxes, depending on what your shop does. A lot of stores near me, after like the first 6 months or so, if they still have back issues of books like this, they'll just throw them in either the dollar boxes, or if the shop does like a $2 box thing, half cover, this is the kind of thing that gets thrown in there, like the overstock leftovers So any of these random issues from the Transformers Beast Wars could be in there if your shop does something similar to the ones that do by me. So that's what I'm talking about, keeping an eye out for. Because again, this series is still running and it's only about a year old. These came out in 2021. So issue 1 is only last year. So you might be able to find it. Even online, they're not expensive. So that's the other thing. We'll keep this in mind as well. Online, you're still talking about cover price books. Basically, all the sales there, cover price. Any issue in the series. I'm not calling out anyone in particular because we're not talking about any real original first appearances. It's just, this is a series. I don't know how they're going to adapt it to this new movie. It's just kind of a fun little thing to go look for. And if you can find these for cheap, maybe grab them. Because from what I hear, the Beast Wars cartoon was pretty good. I haven't watched it. It was kind of after my time. I watched the original Transformers, so I don't know a lot about Beast Wars. I remember the toys, but again, that wasn't in my wheelhouse. But I hear it was pretty good. So I'm going in with an open mind. Copies available, again, cover price or less, $3, which is actually half price of cover. Cover's $5.99 on that issue 1. And you can see right there, $2.99. You can buy IDW right there. These books aren't expensive. So these are the things you might find at your shop. Also, half price of off a cover, $1 box, $2 box, just cheap stuff. So get it, read it, enjoy it, stick it in a box. Who knows what could happen? But for the most part, just enjoy the comics. Open it up, read it, enjoy the story, get yourself ready for the movie, and yeah, just have fun. I mean, that's what we should be doing. Speaking of fun, I'm having a lot of fun watching Ms. Marvel. I didn't think I was going to like it. I know we talked about it on the TAC show a lot. I was concerned. Didn't think it was going to be for me. Thought it was going to be play too young, but I am really enjoying it. I just really am. The first 2 episodes have hit for me. Like, I think they're both pretty good. And reading this article on CBR about omitting a key character from the comics, I thought, all right, let's take a look at that. It's kind of interesting. I was reading through it, and the character plays a role, and the character I'm talking about, I think is his name Josh Hamilton. Yeah, Josh Richardson. He is basically Zoe's boyfriend, I think, in the comics, kind of like the standard cliched bully. He's the one who does the orange juice vodka bit that they actually adapt pretty note for note in this week's episode. So, but the character here, I don't know if he's named, but it's not the same person. Maybe this is Josh, and he's gonna get introduced as Josh as this series goes on. But for now, he isn't called out as being anybody in particular here. Just a jerk, who's messing with her at this point. But the character of Josh Richardson in the comics becomes more than just that cliched bully boy that's dating the bully girl, as he eventually becomes a villain, super villain, if you will. And that happens much later in the run. He first appears in the first issue of Ms. Marvel, so you're not getting his actual first appearance as Josh, but his appearance as this villain Discord you can find in this copy of Ms. Marvel number 19. This is the 3rd run, I think, of or 3rd or 2nd. This is the volume of Ms. Marvel for Kamala Khan's version of it, I should say. But in the story, we see another one of her villains, Lockdown. We're going to get more to her in a minute, but introduced and tied through with Lockdown, we get introduced again, like I said, to Discord, who is this character, Josh Richardson, as is inside that suit there. So it's the first appearance of a villain. Maybe we get this. Who knows how this series is going to play out? We don't even know who the villains are going to be of this first run of Ms. Marvel. We don't even know if they're going to have villains. Maybe they just kind of do this as the introduction and like damage control chasing after her coming to terms with her powers and getting used to them. And then we don't actually have a super villain yet. And maybe season 2 is when we get introduced to villains. I don't know if they're going to do Edison or anything like that. Maybe we see something like a Discord if they introduce the character because it has ties to her and her backstory with the friends and all that stuff. Maybe we'll see. But comic wise, you could still get this book pretty cheap, which is why I'm saying keep an eye out for it in those boxes, because even online, $10, $3.25, $3.75 undercover for a first appearance of a villain. I know it's not the character's first appearance, but his first appearance as that villain character, he has a bit of a minor importance to it, so it's worth looking for cheap. For cheap, mind you. I'm not saying go out and pay market prices, which are still not that expensive. $3.75, $7, $13. Still not saying pay that. I'm just saying this is where it's at right now. Who knows where it could go if we get this character showing up on screen on Disney Plus. But with that, let's get back to Lockdown. That's another one who we could see introduced at some point on the series and evolve into something more, as she did in the comics. Also from this run of Ms. Marvel, this is issue 8 during Civil War II. which was that whole thing with the precognition and you're guilty before you do anything because of time travel and it's Minority Report. Minority Report in the Marvel Universe was what Civil War II was a lot about. But with that said, issue 8, we first get introduced to this character of Becky St. Jude. And first, she seems friendly enough, a new girl, introducing herself, but she ends up really taking Carol's side on Captain Marvel's side with this, with you're guilty. Like if the precogs see you do something in the future, you are guilty before you actually commit the crime. But Kamala is on Iron Man's side. I think his Iron Man was on the other side of this thing, where you're not guilty until you actually do what is do something wrong. That said, this issue 8 of Ms. Marvel still not expensive. $3, $7 recent sales, June 9th, June 11th. So within the last week, it's not an expensive book. Even online asking prices, $5, $6. A couple of lots that might have them in there for $15, $20. Not an expensive book. So this is another first appearance that you might be able to grab now before she gets adapted to on screen, because these are the types of villains I think are easier to put into a show like this, rather than they're not going to. I mean, Kamala Khan doesn't have a huge rogues gallery as it is. So we'll see. I mean, if everybody's going to go and buy those other amulets and those other things, those other characters from the run, and Red Hood, not Red Hood. What is his name? Red Dagger, who also isn't really a villain, but still. If they're going to go investing in those other characters, why not keep an eye out for these ones as well when you can still get them for very cheap? So look in the cheap boxes. Again, I'm not telling you go pay market prices to get yourself a copy. I'm saying look for them for cheap. Cover price or less, hopefully in the dollar boxes, and just grab yourself a couple and just sit and see what happens. Now, that's the first appearance of the character as Becky St. Jude, so you want to have that one in your pocket. The next one you might want to keep in mind is issue 10. Now, nobody really talks about issue 10, but in issue 10, this is where we see her actually get powered up, and we see her with this armor. She doesn't have a code name at this point, but you do see the character she's running through with these, junior varsity, I guess, police state type of looking out, please, I don't know how to explain it, but you know what I'm saying. Basically, these younger characters monitoring for superhero activity and trying to lock people up. But anyway, this is where you see her with this armored power kind of like thing going on in this issue 10, and this one is still relatively cheap, just like the last one. $2, $8, $3, not expensive at all. Copies available right now: $2.99, $3.99. $6.99, $5. They're not expensive. It's basically cover price for the most part, plus some shipping. But keep an eye out for them in the cheap box is what I'm talking about. But the one people try to sell as the first appearance of her as Lockdown is issue 11, which, to be fair, is where she gains the name. So here in issue 11, again, 3 issues after her first introduction in issue 8, we do see her again in this armor, see her with Captain Marvel. And granted, throughout the series, she still has her powers kind of going out earlier in the run. But at the end of it, you see her here saying that she's been thinking about a new code name, Lockdown. So that's really what you're getting. It's not you're getting the first appearance of her like all powered up and fighting, fighting Kamala or anything like that. That all happened long before this. This is just where she decides on the name Lockdown. So is that really a first appearance of Lockdown? I would say it's the first time she uses the name, but outside of that, just know what you're buying. I'm still saying look for these for cheap in the dollar boxes, $2 boxes. Don't go paying market prices for these things, and don't go getting suckered into buying what somebody's telling you what is a first cameo, whatever. Just know what you were buying. It does. We can get through all of the minutia of what do we consider a cameo, what do we consider first. Doesn't matter. Just know what's in the book, so you know what you're paying for. And just know the market, right? That all said, this book still sells just for a few bucks, $6, $15, because a lot of them are calling it first appearance. So that's why this one's already got a little bit of a bump. But is it more important than 10? Is it more important than 8? That's your decision to make. I personally would rather have 8 and 10. I would also want 11 as well, but I think the other ones might be a little bit more interesting to me because look, copies out there still $7, $15, not super duper expensive, but you can see it even here. First Lockdown is how this is being sold. And again, while it's true, it's the first time she comes up with a name. Does that matter all that much? I don't know. just interesting books. Hopefully you find this interesting. I know it's not a lot for this week, but it's been a long week. It's been a long week. This is what I got for you. Hopefully you're enjoying it, and hopefully you're still enjoying the series and everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like I said, thanks for stopping by and checking this out. I appreciate all of you. Make sure you go check out the article over on comicbookinvest.com, where I just give a little bit more of a detail of some of my thought process behind it, just spotlighting a few of the books here on the video presentation. And with that said, we didn't get to 5 and 5 on the tax show last night, so I'm going to do a little 5 and 5 separate, drop that for tomorrow on Friday. And yeah, just keep this thing rolling. Make sure you're back on Sunday for Star Wars. And next week, we'll start it all over with Hidden Gems, Chasing Ghosts, Tax Show, Dollar Bin Digging, etc., etc., etc. So again, hopefully you're still enjoying it. We still want to put some new stuff here onto the channel. So help us continue our push to 2,000 subscribers. Tell your friends so we can keep growing it up. And we're going to do a giveaway once we hit 2,000. So make sure you help me get there, and I will get some free books out to a few of you, because it's going to be more than just one. That all said, I'm getting ahead of myself. We're only closing in on 1,800, but we can be optimistic, right? Now, with that, thank you again. I will see you guys soon with some more content.